Hello and welcome back to Wild and Plenty. I thought today it might be a nice idea to do a full walk around tour of the whole smallholding because it's probably going to be the last one before it all starts kicking off for spring. So I've done like lots of little bits and bobs over the last few weeks. It's not been lovely. It's not lovely today, but if I wait for a nice day, I might be waiting a while. So we've been doing sort of boring jobs, jobs that I wouldn't necessarily video, but they've made quite a difference. So I've been trying to get up to speed with everything, and I will now get you up to speed. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Sam. If you're not, then welcome back. My dog is going nuts. I have lived here on our 3-acre smallholding for about 18 months now. So we're just going into our second year of growing here. We moved here from the city centre, so this is all new to us, and I'm learning as I go on how to make this work. So at the moment we've got Veggie Garden, food forest, which is obviously only a year or so old. We've got a load of chickens and a lot of other projects in the work. So I'm going to show you around. So I'm going to take my phone around with me because I've been really trying to not get sidetracked from the sort of tidy up jobs that we've been doing in the last couple of weeks. We've been doing sort of building maintenance and stuff like that, which is not loads of fun, and I needed to just get focused on it and not get sidetracked by garden related things. So I'm taking my phone so that I can keep a list as we go around of things I really want to get done before winter is out, because spring will be here before we know it. Okay, let's start in here. This here is one of the stalls in the stables. So this week, over the last couple of weeks, every dry day, we've been out here painting the outside of this stables. Doesn't look like a lot of work here, but I promise you this was many hours of our time spent doing this, and many trips up and down ladders. So yeah, we've got that done, and I'm really happy because I think it looks really good, and it really did need it. I've also done a once around inside the stables, done a good clean up in here and put a coat of treatment on to the walls on the inside as well. So I'm really trying to look after this space and make it a place where I want to be. Over winter it's become a bit of a storage dump, so we've put some work into actually making it practical again before the season starts. So it's pretty grim out here, but oh, you've got fluff on you. But as I say, there's no nice days on the horizon. So I'm super chuffed with how this looks. We've done some repairs onto the outside and got everything painted up nicely out here, which is a huge job that I'm pretty happy about. And again, in here we've tidied up, got everything with a coat of sort of wax on it. So there's a bit of love for the stables this year. There's no animals in here at the moment, but I've been getting it sorted out so that I have my options open. Haven't fired up the lawnmower yet this year, not planning on it anytime soon. This one was here when we moved in, it didn't run, now it kind of runs. It's a project for Nigel to tinker with. Right, so this stall here I use as my potting shed. As you can see, out here is where the gardens are. Big change is that got a door now. So if you've been here before, it had like a stable door on here, but only the bottom half was on, the top bit was open. So I hadn't done too much in here to make it nice because I couldn't, it was raining in here a lot of the time. So Nigel took this half door off, used what he could, and built in this window. Used to be on our house, so we had to brick up a window to put the solar battery in. So repurposed that and popped it onto a door in here, so now I can actually shut the door and come out here when it's not too nice out there and actually feel like I'm inside, which is lovely. So I've done a bit of a rearrange in here and a bit of a tidy up now that I can make it inside, so I guess I'll show you. I brought the big table in here. This came from family who were otherwise getting rid of it. Because I was finding myself last year, I basically walked all of my potting trays and bags of compost up to the back garden by the house, just because we have like a picnic bench out there and it's somewhere to sit and do this. And I was just doing so many trips walking back and forwards just to start seeds. So I've commandeered this table, because I've got the space in here. So actually I have a spot to set up and actually do that now, which is lovely. This is the little potting bench I had last year, came from Aldi. Very happy with it. I've got some pumpkin innards to take down to the chickens in a minute. So we're still eating the pumpkins from last year's garden. They are just starting to go over now, so it's Feb, and they were harvested in September last year, so that's not bad. Pretty happy with that. Eggs from today. And in here I've just got my bits and bobs all organised: plant tags, twine, tiny pots, gloves. Under here we've got some onions from last year's garden that never quite made it inside, the teensy tiny ones. And then we've got our feed and whatnot under there. Handy bits and bobs up here. I haven't yet had the mental capacity to sort the grow bags out. They're all pretty nasty, but I've bunged them down there. And we've got all of our trays in here, so it's all quite nice and tidy. And I've got this unit over here, pile of tools, and then all my handy bits in here: plastic baggies, trays, pots. Everything is in here. Every time I get any sort of container like this or this, I keep them because they're just handy as either trays or little propagator hoods to put over things when you're trying to germinate seeds that like it humid. So I keep all of those basically, and they're all tucked away in those, and some seed trays. This is all just compostable bits that have blown into the stables here for when I'm making a cup of tea out here. And then I've got just a load of cardboard everywhere because I have some compost coming this week so that I can finish out my beds out in the veggie garden. So I save my compost and they go on to my beds or into the compost pile that we've got here. Did I just say save my compost? Save my cardboard. And then they either go onto my beds as a no-dig sort of setup, or if they're small or whatever, or if I've got too many, they end up going in the compost pile. So either way, they are either going to go onto the beds this week, or they're going to go into the compost because I'm fed up of having just cardboard everywhere. It's raining. Then this unit, I got it last year and I love it. I think it's so pretty. But as I said, it's kind of been outside in here, so I haven't really had the chance to do any upcycling on it yet. But that's my plan for this year now that we have an inside. And I've got this cute little sign for my chicken run. So, I mean, it's raining now, so I'm not going to do that now, but I'm going to take this out as soon as I can. Right. And that's pretty much what it looks like in here. Just a little update in here. Now let's go and see the interesting stuff. Small note on the garlic. So this, oh no, I lied, there's another one there. I've got 2 more bunches like this in here. These were all grown in my garden last year. I've just taken 1 in, and I had 3 that I took straight into the house once they were initially cured outside. So I'm just over halfway through the garlic that we grew, and I think I'll have enough to get me through to harvest time, no problem. I've grown about the same, probably a little bit more I've put in this year, but that's because I've got different varieties and I want to do a lot more saving of the good cloves this year. So that's good to know that I grew enough garlic for the year. Okay. Seems to have stopped raining already, thankfully. So I've had a nice tidy up out in this area. So this is right outside my potting shed where we've just come out. I've got a mini greenhouse over here. So we start over there. As you can see, it's on borrowed time. I got this last year. It is far too windy here for something like this. It was stupid, but I really wanted something that I could put out here. Whew, okay, so I've had a bit of a sort out. All of this was kind of just everywhere. That just been blown around over the winter. So I've had to close this flap. Yeah, I've had a bit of a clear out. I did just leave everything. I didn't do what I should have done at the end of the season last year. I should have tidied everything away. But I didn't do that, and it's all just been a mess. And there's just been pots full of dead things and pots full of things that should have been cared for over the winter and haven't been. So hey ho, is what it is. I've been through it all now. I've got rid of everything that's dead, and in here we've got what's alive. So these are my onions. You'll see out in the garden in a minute. We've already got some onions that I put in the autumn last year. So these I started a few weeks ago. As you can see, they're coming up pretty nicely. These are supposed to be shallots. Not loads of those are coming up, but I didn't multi-sow the shallots. I multi-sowed the onions, so they're always going to look a bit sparse even when they do come up. Interestingly, I started all of these at the same time, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different varieties here, and these long red Florence have all come up, and otherwise it's a bit sparse, but it's cold, and I'm starting them outside, so it's going to take them a while, and that's okay. They are coming, so I'm just going to wait and see how they do. I grew onions from seed last year and it went better than I could have hoped for, so I am positive that these will catch up and we'll have a load of onions. As I say, I did a full tray that already went out in the autumn, so should get a lot more onions this year. As I say, they went well last year, I just didn't start enough, so I'm doing more this year. There's nothing in here. Right, then down here, these are all herbs that I either started from seed last year or I took cuttings of last year. We've got sage, we've got thyme, we've got marjoram, this is a rosemary, more thyme back here, there's some oregano back here, and this is yarrow in here. This is going to go out in the food forest. So they're all looking good. I've got some lavenders down here that never made it out. I bought them in the autumn last year. I've got some eucalyptus trees here that haven't made it out yet. I'm waiting for it to warm up a little bit more before I put those out. And then these are all cuttings from my Christmas tree, except this one. This was a bought pine tree. The rest are all cuttings, and we'll see how they go. This little one down here is not a cutting. This is, can you see it? This is a sapling that has propagated itself from the big trees outside. Over on this side, I've got a few strawberries that with some weeds in them that have survived my neglect. These, bless them, I think that these are osteospermum that I started from seed last year. Got abandoned a bit, but I'm hopeful that by some magic I can bring those back. Right, down here I have got, these are some cuttings I've taken off of willows that are already growing here on the small holding. I'm hoping to make some sort of living fences this year, so I've taken some cuttings. I'm going to take some more. This is just the first round. I knocked a bit off of the lavender by accident, so I've popped that in into some soil here to see if that will go, to see if that will take. It may not, but we'll see. And these over here are some weeping willow cuttings that somebody took for me, and so I'm waiting to see if they're going to take. I assume they will. I've done cuttings from my own willow before and they take super easy, so pretty hopeful that we'll also have some weeping willow to plant out this year. In here we've got some spring onions that haven't quite made it outside yet. Then these are some crazy daisies from last year. What is this? He's cute. I'm not sure where he came from, but he's going to go out this year as well. Whew. What is this? Honestly, I have no idea what this is or where it came from. Okay. Okay, so this is what remains of the other one of these. I've still got the covering. It did rip and a whole thing went over last year. Right in the spring I lost loads of stuff. I got very disheartened over it, but hey, I'm using this as some nice outdoor staging right now. So in here, this is what the osteospermum is supposed to look like, and look at that little flower. It's cute. So he's going to go out this year. This is the spinach that should be out already. In here we've got some brassicas that are going to be going out any time now. These are grapes. These are grapes. They need to be trimmed back before they start growing again this year. And then some more brassicas. These ones have been in these pots too long, and as you can see they have gone to seed. Down here these are some hazel cuttings that my mother-in-law has sent me. I'm not sure they're going to do anything, but we'll wait and see. In here I've got a load of strawberries. Ooh! These, hang on. So these are rhubarbs that I started from seed last year. I didn't end up putting them out because they were so small. I was just worried that they would, you know, not make it. So I left them in pots, and then I kind of forgot about them. And then when I was tidying up out here a couple of days ago, you alright, Munchkin? What's up? Doesn't like it when it's cold. Yeah, when I was tidying up out here, I noticed that 3 of these have come up again, which is wonderful. So they'll be going out this year. Pop that back in there. And the strawberries are seen to go out also into my food forest. Now in this one, what do we have? Nothing. It's mostly bare, so I've basically got 2 empty cold frames here ready for cold starting of seeds. But these 2, this and this, are also saplings from these trees. They just drop into this riding area behind us and start growing. So whenever I'm outside and not sure what to do with myself for 5 minutes, I go and dig one up and put it in a pot. And here I've just got some strawberries. I thought I would leave some in a pot so I could see how they do compared to the ones in the in-ground beds. And then if I just come over here, this is, I think, a sea buckthorn that's starting to grow. So it was growing in one of my beds in the food forest, not where I intended it. So I thought I would. Oh, my cat's here. Hey. So I thought I would pull it up and pot it up and see if I can move it somewhere else, because I'm all for extra sea buckthorns in my food forest. I just didn't want them growing on top of my apple tree. So this here is one of the saplings from these spruce trees that I potted up last year, and so that's about the difference. That's this year and this is last year. We did put on about a foot of growth in the year, so I think that's pretty good. Hey Munchkin. Oh, he's a nice boy. That's Jack. He did move with us from the city, but he has taken to farm life pretty darn well. This boy came to us a year ago now. Just been over a year that we've had him, and he just thinks this is how all the dogs live. So if we come out here, this is the Veggie Garden. As you can see, there is still just loads of celery. We did have a couple of frosts, but obviously they weren't that heavy, so a lot of it died, but I've still got so much celery. I've got so much celery in the freezer. I dehydrated a load, I made loads into powder, into celery salt, and I've still got celery everywhere. So I'm not growing celery this year. We'll have to work our way through the stocks. Some perpetual spinach still trying to live out here, along with a load of corn salad, which we have been using, but as you can see, it's just going nuts. I've not been keeping things very tidy out here over the winter, but things are still trying to live, so it's all good. As you can see, I've started resetting the no-dig beds here. Some of them just got a bit taken over with weeds, so I've just reset, put the cardboard back on, throw a layer of compost on, and we'll start again. In here I've got a load of parsley. Some of it's gone to seed, as you can see here, but a lot of it hasn't, and we're still just using it fresh, straight out of the ground, which is lovely. This is some Dame's Rocket, which is a biennial, so it's looked like this all year, but hopefully it will flower this year, and that'll be really lovely. I'm pretty surprised at how well the winter garden has done, and if I'd have known it would do this well, I would have put a lot more in it. So I'll learn that lesson for this year. These kale, these were kind of experimental, because I wanted to see whether or not they would get eaten by caterpillars. They did earlier in the season, a lot of like this growth early on, but did get eaten, you know, when it was still warm. But since it's been winter, obviously they're not around, and it's been in here all summer, and it's only just started to go to seed. You can see it there. But otherwise we've eaten loads off of these, and there's more in the brassica cage over there, so we have had a load. Got more spinach going on down here. There's this big dead pile of twig with perpetual spinach that went to seed and dropped all its seeds in this bed, so there might be 1 million perpetual spinach plants growing in here come spring. The leeks have taken a battering, bless them, but I think they're doing okay. I'm not really sure when I'm supposed to eat them. Anyway, so this bed that's got the netting on it is where my brassicas are going to be going in, those ones in the trays up there. This is our garlic, which is coming along pretty well. The sticks just show that where the lines are between the varieties, so I'm keeping an eye on those. These are our overwintered onions, and I mean, they didn't all make it. Like, there is definitely some loss going on here, but the ones that did look pretty good. So they do seem fairly ahead of the game, so I'm pretty hopeful there. Otherwise, I've got some shallots that went in over winter in here. They look okay, I'm not hugely confident, as well as some spinach and lettuces in there, which again are trying to live. They might pick up, but they're not doing too great. And then in here, loads of Cavolo Nero in here. Still got some Brussels sprouts that we're still eating, and there's some purple sprouting broccoli in there that we're still eating as well. You see one that's gone to flower on this side, but this one in here has still got food to eat on it. I think what I'm going to do, they must be coming to an end now, so I'm going to bring some of the chickens up and put them in there and let them root around in there. I'll take the rest of that Cavolo Nero, probably dehydrate it. I think that's what I'll do. I'll take that purple sprouting broccoli, we'll eat that, we'll eat the last of the sprouts, but I think it's towards the end now, so what I might do is pop some chickens in there and let them root around, tear all that up and reset it for me for the spring. So let's take a wander down towards, oh, I was going to say the chickens, but I forgot their pumpkin. Let's go get the pumpkin first. So I did feed them a whole pumpkin earlier, which they probably got bored of by now. But I also started one for us, which is why I've got some innards that are extra. So I'll pop these down for them as well, and they can get to it when they get to it. Now, one of the things that is definitely going on my list in here, I don't even know if you can see, but these are raspberries. And I thought this would be a great spot because we had some fencing going along this line, and I thought that was kind of just like string wired fencing, and I thought I could use that as a structure for them, but I totally lost control of it there, and it's so exposed in the wind they didn't really love it in that spot. So I'm going to relocate those, and I want to do that soon so I can get them in while it's still winter and they're not trying to grow yet. Hey girls! So the first big change in here is that the chicken run is new. We had green barrier fencing before that wasn't very hardy, whereas this stuff is deer fencing, and it's doing a much better job of containing my chickens. They're not very happy about it because they are actually contained now. Hello. Yeah, they're not hugely happy with the fact that they are now actually contained. We are still letting them out on days where we're out here, which is why they're following me around, because they think I might be letting them out, which I'm not, because I don't know if you can tell on the video, but it is the end of the day, about to get dark. But yeah, as spring is coming, these guys, they can just sense when you've just planted something new, and they will, even if it's on the other side of the small holding from here, they will find it and they will rip it up. So they're staying in here for now, and they're just coming out when we can directly supervise them. One of the plans for the spring before the garden gets into full swing is to close this gap off here, because we've got a gate on the other side of this field, whereas this gap here goes straight through basically to where the veggie field is. So we want to put a gate in here so that they can still be out in this field at certain times of the year. But for now they're contained, and we're just moving this run around, you know, once the grass is exhausted of them, and giving them new ground to peck around on. But otherwise, I'm trying to find a balance between giving them, you know, free range space, but also it not just destroying everything I try to plant. So we've got 11 chickens in here, and they have been laying all winter. I think the least eggs we've had in a day has been 5. The most we've had has been 11. So they are remarkable egg layers, these girls. So as I'm walking by, you can see some fruit trees that have been in here since last winter. And then if you've been watching recently, I've been planting some nitrogen fixers in here, because the goal for this space is not just to be an orchard with some chickens in it, the goal for this space is to be a food forest. And by that I mean it's basically meant to sort of mimic a forest in that there's no input. It's a closed system, it looks after itself. The other plants, the other elements in it provide the different things with what they need. What are you eating? Yeah. Keeping an eye on my dog. So in the first year I went quite heavy on the fruit trees purely because they take a long time before, you know, you're getting fruit off of them. So I wanted to get them in first and foremost before I'd really given it much thought otherwise. And this year I've kind of focused on those bits of those helpful plants that are going to give the nutrients where we need them, which I didn't really do last year. So this here is a blackwood. I've popped him down here because it's a little bit sheltered in this hedgerow because he looks a bit green, bless him. So hopefully he does all right in there. So that is a cherry tree. This one is also a cherry tree. And then I've got a few apples and pears. I've got a fig in here. So what I've done that's new-ish is popped in this bed here. As you can see, it's got a bit of compost in it. I'm going to put a whole layer on there. It's got a bit of chicken bedding underneath it. And another one here. So once the compost comes, I'll put a nice good layer on there. Then I can start actually planting things in here. I also planted some fruit bushes in here, which again I did show you, I think. So lots of change coming in here. It still just looks like a load of twigs in the ground with a bit of mulch here and there at the moment, but imagine. So these here are some autumn olives. These are also nitrogen fixing, same as that blackwood. Over in the far corner over there. Ow, it's prickly. This is my false acacia black locust. Also nitrogen fixing, very prickly. Just stabbed myself in the knuckle. So as you can see, these and the autumn olives have weed fabric. I don't normally weed fabric, but I was running low on mulch and I'm using what I've got. Now these are my Welsh onions. They have done great, but those guys have destroyed them. Like you can see, oh dear. You know, they really have gone to town on these. They're not dead, you know, they've not been completely decimated, but this is why I wanted to stop the chickens now, because I got a chance to save those. So you can usually propagate Welsh onions by digging them up, separating the bulbs and replanting them, and they propagate that way. You can also start more seeds. As you can see, they've got flower heads on them, but I've still got some seeds left as well, so I might start some more, and I'm going to interplant those around the soft fruit that I've got going on in here in an attempt to deter some wildlife from helping themselves to my berries. Over here, this is an Italian alder that has been planted in here. So again, it's all just twigs right now, but I'm hoping that it's all going to burst into life pretty soon. I've got some hazel over along this line here. So I really have kind of spread the nitrogen fixing plants out in here. I've also got a licorice root that I've put in as well, which is also a nitrogen fixer, but of course the root is edible. So the immediate projects in here is to get those raspberries down into this area where it's a bit more protected, and I can put them in a bed that I can actually manage and let them really get a foothold. I know that once they do, then they'll be hard to stop, but you know, they really did struggle down where I first put them. So I think if I bring them down here, you know, I can give them some dedicated space I can actually get to all the way around and try and stop them from being overtaken by grass. I've also got, along with the compost that's being delivered, I have got a load of woodland mulch coming, which I'm going to put at the base of all of these trees. I've still got some old bricks and tiles and things I'm trying to edge them with, just so that I can, you know, really try and battle this grass. The problem I've got here is that it's a completely open field that I'm starting from that was just grass, so you know, that's why I've got the weed fabric on some of them, and I'm mulching around because I'm hoping that once there's enough growing in here, it'll become easier to stay on top of, because it's not just a sea of grass with one thing in the middle, you know. So, you know, I've really just got to put a lot of effort in the first few years to get these things established, and then they should be able to compete a little bit better. So as you can see here, this was mulched quite heavily with grass clippings, mostly broken down, and this tree has done better than some of the others that didn't get that level of treatment. So that is, I think my goal is to just mulch really heavily around these trees and really give them the best chance I can. Same with these soft fruit bushes. They've got cardboard right now, but that's not going to last long with all the wind and rain. So I really want to do a proper job of mulching around these trees, and that's coming this week. So on my to-do list for the rest of February is to move the raspberries, mulch all my trees in here, get those brassicas planted out into the veggie garden, and I need to do some pruning on these apple trees. So there we go, there's some jobs for me to get done really soon. Ooh. I'm going to run inside now because it's raining. So as you can see up in this area, I have started edging these trees with bricks. Plan to dig them in a little bit so they don't stop falling over, but it just shows a nice easy area that the mulch can go into. So after, I'm not planning to start doing any major seed sowing until March, I think. I probably could. I don't want to be too hesitant because I'm going to cover because it's raining. So I'm pretty much out of daylight now, so I'll have to call it there. Thank you very much for coming around on this little tour with me. I have made my to-do list, so thanks for that. That includes cardboard and the compost that's coming this week. It's going to go out on those beds and they are going to be ready to be planted in whenever I want them to be. I've got a new tarp that's going to go out on a new patch out there, so that's going to stay there probably for the next year, so that will be ready under there to plant next year. So that I want to get out there so that can start doing its work. Number 3, I'm going to move those raspberries down into the food forest, a new bed, a new area where they can actually stay long term with a structure for them to grow on. Number 4, I'm going to prune my apple and pears trees because they probably do need it, and I need to get that done before they start growing again this year. Anything else? Oh, the mulch on the trees and the bushes out in the food forest as well, which is also coming this week. So that's my 5 jobs to do over the next couple of weeks, and then come up March we will get going with all things gardening. So I want to get these things out of the way so that once March comes I can go, you know, full swing into it. Everything else is prepped and ready and I'm not starting behind. So if you want to follow along with our progress for the rest of this month, or indeed the garden for the whole rest of this year, then please do subscribe. You are more than welcome to come along. I would love to have you here. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Cheers.